Hello everyone, welcome to Kootenai and Beyond. My name is Brandon and today I will be reviewing my new 2024 Veemo SE. I'll be going over a little bit of the history and original vision of this unit, some of the specs, my opinions on how it rides, some of the pros and cons, a little bit about quality control as this is an early adopter unit, and my current and future plans. So this trike was originally designed and envisioned by a Vancouver-based company called Veemo in 2016. The original concept was a much more enclosed, much bigger, bulkier unit. However, due to its weight, its difficulty to move around, difficulty servicing it, and just its overall size, they decided to change the design to this more semi-open. So unfortunately in 2023, Veemo had financial difficulties due to changing markets, the pandemic of course, and inflation, and went bankrupt. However, later that year, another Canadian company, Burnaby, BC based Envo Drive Systems, acquired Veemo as well as this design, and decided to continue it. So that's a little bit about the history. Let's talk about the specs. This bike is 200 centimeters long by 80 centimeters wide by 150 centimeters high, or 79 by 35 by 59 inches. Inside, it is powered by a 48 volt, 15 amp hour lithium ion battery, which is hidden in the front there, designed by LG and Panasonic. And down below, we have 20 by 1.75 low rolling resistant tires on 20-inch double rimmed wheels. Dyson hydraulic brakes, 203 millimeter in the front and 180 millimeter in the rear, are used for stopping power. LED headlights, windshield wiper, rear side mirrors on either side, or down below if you prefer, depending on your height. LED lights in the rear. And down below, the drivetrain consists of a Tech extended chain, which goes all the way into the front there. And that is on a Shimano Atlas 9 9-speed cassette, mated to a Envo rear hub direct drive motor. Continuing in the aft here, coil spring suspension, and a single pivot bottom bracket. And in the front, twin independent 70mm struts. Plastic window and roof, extends all the way to the back, open rear, and open sides. Moving inside, we have a vinyl saddle with a fabric backrest, a 60-liter cargo hold. Those are just some shopping bags I threw in there with some TP I had. But it demonstrates you can fit at least 2 to 3 bags, which is handy. I got very used to using panniers, but I can see how this would be a little more handy, a little easier to just throw in there. Moving inside the cockpit, we have a power unit with 5 different drive modes. Envo, battery, speed, expended watts, it's just 0 right now, of course, and 1, 2, 4, 5 different power modes of assist. Headlights, wiper, and horn, which doesn't work, but I'll get that back to that later. On the right side, we have a twist style throttle, making this a Class 2 e-bike, and just my phone holder, of course, and big open window with nice visibility on either side. See behind. So, those are some specs. So of course you're all wondering, how does it ride? Well, that's my daily rider, 2018 Trek Powerfly 5 with a Bosch mid-drive motor. This is a recumbent, semi-recumbent with a direct drive motor. Completely different scene here, completely different feeling. It took some getting used to. I want to be like completely open about that. If you've never ridden in a sitting position before, it is strange and some getting used to. But I like it. It's a lot easier on my back, and I find it fairly comfortable. It's handlebars. Let me see if I can demonstrate here. Handlebars are a little bit higher than I'm used to, so that also took a little getting used to. And down below, 2 front tires on independent suspension. It's just a completely different feeling, but once you kind of get used to it, you really build confidence quickly. The 2 wheels actually add a substantial amount of stability. The steering is very responsive. uh, that you can't make too many quick movements. It has to be smooth, flowy movements, or you're going to be like rocking all over the place. It just has to be like, you know, deliberate and controlled. Now, the low rolling resistance tires are fairly quiet, as well as the direct drive system. However, the unit itself, so because it's an independent suspension, there's a lot of moving parts in the front, and they all kind of jiggle around a little bit. So it's more noise that you might be used to, but once you kind of become accustomed to it, it's not really that big a deal. It's quick and fast on flat and of course down hills. The real tricky part to get used to is going up hills. So because it's a direct drive unit with a maximum output of 500 watts, it's a little bit underpowered for a unit this size. So you really have to be conscious of like what gear you're in. Make sure you're switching your gears. Make sure you're increasing your power assist at the right time, and don't rely exclusively on the motor to move you up those hills. You have to work with the motor. Something else to get used to: the direct drive style unit. It's very different than the mid-drive units I'm used to. Of course, with mid-drive, once you apply pressure and torque to the transmission, the assist engages. It's a little bit different with a direct drive unit. You simply need to pedal even if you're coasting down a hill, and the motor will engage. Now that's nice if you're going down into like a dip and then back up, because the motor's already engaged, and it's a little bit of a smoother transition than a mid-drive. But on the other hand, when you're going downhill and you're trying to slow down and you're pressing the brakes, but you also need to change gear, well, the motor engages. So you end up in this a little bit of an awkward place where you have the motor pushing you while the brake's trying to stop you at the same time. It doesn't feel dangerous or anything. It's just new and different and something to get used to. Suspension wise, the suspension does a pretty good job of absorbing bumps. I didn't feel any like sharp wrenches or anything like that while going over bumps. That being said, I want to make it clear, this is not an off-road unit. Honestly, I'm not even sure I would take this on like the gravel rail trails. It's a pavement unit. That's where it excels, that's where it works best, and I just have to kind of come to terms with that, because most of my bikes are like, multi-use. All right, let's go over a few little pros and cons. The pros, of course: enclosed unit, good protection from wind and bugs. I'm sure good protection against rain, although we haven't had any for me to ride in yet. That also means I haven't been able to test out the wiper yet, but that can come in a future video. Because it's semi-enclosed, you also get good airflow, so there should not be a problem with fogging up or anything like that. I'm going to turn this on here. Although Envo did kind of downgrade the drive system, its LED headlights are fantastic. Like, they do a great job of lighting up at night, both in the front and the rear too. Like, they're really top notch. I was really shocked about that, actually. Other pros, seems to be a fairly solidly built unit. No complaints really. Although, of course, when I received the unit, I had to check all of the bolts, make sure everything was tight. You know, pretty standard stuff when you get a new bike. Doesn't matter if it has 2 or 3 wheels, you have to do the same checks. Some of the cons. Let's go over some cons. Well, it's a big unit. It's a bit heavy. You need 2 people to get it into the back of a pickup truck, or you need a drive-on trailer to really transport this thing. I have a 5-foot 4-inch bed in my pickup truck, and the tailgate has to be down because this is a little bit longer than that. Not really that big a deal. It's just, you know, something to be aware of. Down here, I would really like to ask Envo, what the heck is this about? They had to ground out this in order to make the seat fit. Like, really, guys? I really hope they do something about this in like the future units, or they cover it up or something. That's ridiculous. Like, come on. Another kind of funny thing, let me take these out. This is exactly what it looks like. It is a half-assed piece of carpet that they just stuck in there. Like, seriously? I mean, I know I'm an early adopter, and there's going to be like weird kind of funny things, but, well, let's just say I wasn't too impressed about that. I know these are just dumb little things. The overall unit is pretty decent. It's just these silly little things that they did. Anyway. Yeah, really, besides that, I guess these rear view mirrors, they're kind of cheap, not too impressive. I might upgrade them later, we'll see. Everything else, pretty solid. So that's some quality control stuff. Oh, and of course, as I mentioned before, horn doesn't work. I'm gonna have to take that into a bike shop and get that fixed eventually. So, current and future plans. I think this will become my new grocery getter. Be nice just be able to throw some grocery bags in there. And it's easy to get from my house to the nearest grocery store. So why not? And it's fall, it's mid-September right now, so, you know, the rains are going to be coming. And then, of course, I live in part of the province with 4 seasons, so we're gonna have snow and ice in the wintertime. Speaking of which, last winter I saw a really cool video by a guy in Victoria with a company called, what were they called? Sustain Wave, I think. And he built a little homemade snowplow and he stuck it on the front of his cargo bike. I'm thinking I might be able to do maybe the same for something like that. Not to plow my driveway or anything, but just because the ground clearance isn't super high on this thing and I want to get the snow out of the way. Also, I looked into it. Apparently, they do make 20-inch winter studded tires. So I'll be replacing these with those at some point before this coming winter. At which point I think we'll make another video. However, that's all for now, I think. Thanks for joining me, and if you have any questions or comments, please put them below, and have a nice day.